Twitch is twitching.
Twitch usually is twitchy.
Someone else said rip. No, everything looks good. All right. I believe we are now streaming to YouTube and Twitch. Live here from my place. Welcome to Awesome Hardware, episode 60. This is a live stream that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, either on twitch.tv/awesomehardware or either of our respective YouTube channels. We actually split the show up into halves. So one half goes on Paul's channel, Paul's Hardware. That's on youtube.com, of course. And then the other half is right here on youtube.com/awesomesaucenetwork. On my channel. So if you haven't already seen part A to this episode, you can go ahead and head over to Paul's channel and watch it there. Come back here, you can watch them out of order, doesn't really matter. But we're just going to continue where Paul left off. Before we do that, however, we do have a couple brief announcements, including merchandise. So Paul and I are still selling our shirts, for all of you guys to enjoy. We've also got what do I have? I have the new BIOS Flasher shirt.
I'm clicking on OBS. I'm clicking on XSplit instead of the... Alright, no, it's fine, fine.
So I've got the new BIOS Flasher shirt, which it's funny, I've been selling these for like a week or two now, and I literally just saw the actual shirt printed in person over the weekend at Land Syndicate because John, our t-shirt guy, just brought them there for us, and that was the first time I saw it, and it's a beautiful shirt. It's really well printed, excellent quality, as always, as all of John's shirts are, so go ahead and pick one of those up. I know I'm pretty low on stock on the CPU Cooler and Stay Positive shirts, but those will be in stock soon. I'll be restocking those shortly. Beer.
AwesomeSauceNetwork.com/store for Kyle's store.
Yes, and I think I've also put a link in my description of the YouTube video as well. Also, paulshardware.net. He has a store as well.
Or store.paulshardware.net.
Or store.paulshardware.net. He's got the Zero Insertion Force shirts that he's got in two varieties, black and gray. Very nice.
Look how clever that is.
Okay. That is super clever. The punniness. And he's also got mugs and new hoodies and things like that. It's amazing.
It's all very high quality.
Just buy everything. And you will be getting a loud and proud Johnson shout-out at the end of this particular episode if you happen to purchase anything from either of our stores by the end of this stream. And if you don't know what a Johnson shout-out is, then you'll just have to wait and see. Or watch any of our other streams and skip to the end, and then you'll know. And you'll be like, it's totally not worth it. I'm not buying anything. Let's go ahead and just kick things off here with
we should say real quick thank you to Silver Shaman.
Thank you, Silver Shaman.
I
say shaman. You say shaman?
Silver Shaman?
I say shaman.
That's probably more accurate.
It sounds more like exotic.
Shaman. He is from South Devon in the UK.
Beautiful place.
He sent us a postcard as well as...
Fudge.
There's one more large piece of fudge, Kyle.
No.
I'll just leave that right here.
No, I'm not taking it. We should give some to Heather. A little bit, let her try it.
Okay, we'll let her try it.
But I like how you brought in a little Tupperware. You're quite the fudge packer, Paul. I wasn't expecting that from you. You know, maybe.
How did that catch me so off guard?
How did you not see it coming? Is my question.
Yeah, as you said, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to make sure it's safe. You know, it was warm out, so wanted to put it in.
Gotta get you all your guards down, you know. Can't let that Jizbukake get away from us.
Right. Calling it the Bukake fudge.
Bukake fudge. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about some good old tech news.
Shake it off.
It gets us all warm and fuzzy inside. Starting with Intel. Not the greatest news if you're a Intel employee, because the big-ass company is planning on cutting thousands of jobs by the end of this year. This is supposed to take place this spring, and it's going to span across several departments. And this is not too far off from what we've experienced from Intel in the past. They actually cut off or laid off about 1,100 employees last year, and rumors are saying that it's going to be even more this year. And that's pretty intense. Intel currently has 107,000 employees globally. The Oregon HQ has grown to house 19,500 employees alone. So this is pretty crazy stuff.
That's just being shown here.
That's just okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Oregon base. This is also kind of a big deal for Oregon as a state because Intel, being the behemoth they are, offers some of the best wages to that state and also creates thousands of third-party jobs for other companies that supply and maintain the Intel facilities. So this could have a pretty big impact for that region. Last year they laid over, like I said, 1,100 U.S. employees. Don't know exactly how many it's going to be this year, but again, it's going to be more than that. Still very profitable, though. Intel's not
So good. Sorry.
I thought you were just like, get on with the cow. Get on with it.
I'm savoring the people losing their jobs. Just, oh. No, sorry.
And here's this asshole enjoying his fudge.
It's a fudge. Sorry, that was the last
Packing it in. I know, it's so good. So, in case you're worried about Intel as a company and like how they're doing financially, don't be, because they're still super profitable. Their profit margins are skyrocketing over 60%, which is pretty insane. But the slowing of PC sales has affected things a little bit, and it's kind of pushed Intel into developing new strategies for different markets besides the PC industry. Not to mention the increasing difficulty of manufacturing newer and smaller processing nodes, which is, if the addition to the TikTok cycle was any indication of how things are becoming increasingly complex as you shrink the node size, there are certain challenges that Intel is still facing as big and powerful of a company as it is. Once you start getting super, super tiny and trying to condense a lot of technology onto one small die, and you're trying to shrink that die year over year, more or less, that becomes increasingly complex. And so Intel has a couple issues to resolve on their own. And I think cutting a shit ton of employees this year is part of the attempt to solve some of those problems. So
you think if there's less employees, do you think that their processors will be faster?
Maybe they're
trying to train the existing employees on efficiency. Like, look, you have to work this much harder and be this much faster, just like the processors you're designing.
That could be it. That could be it.
See,
right? They're trying to do more with less.
It's leadership.
They're trying to do more with less, and that's the perfect way to do it. I think they're clearly not on crack cocaine at all.
I don't know. Do they need? I mean, I don't like hearing about job cuts.
Neither do I.
And a company like Intel has lots of jobs that, are probably difficult to get, that require lots of education, lots of schooling. And if you work at a company like Intel, I don't know, you probably rely on some kind of job security.
Oh, yeah.
This is a massive multinational corporation.
Right.
With over 100,000 employees.
Yep.
And they're very profitable.
Yeah, that's why I always kind of like chuckle when I hear people saying like, "Oh, you work for YouTube or whatever? That's so unstable or whatever. Like, how do you get on with yourself or whatever? Like, what happens if YouTube goes down or they screw you over? Then you're shit out of a job. Like, why don't you get a stable career?" And I'm thinking like, there are so many companies out. Pretty much any company. If you're working for someone, even yourself, it doesn't matter. Nothing is really stable. You could be working at Newegg or Intel. These really big, these allegedly stable, perceptibly stable companies, and you could still get laid off or you can still get screwed over in some way without warning, overnight, or maybe you get a severance package or something, but nothing's really stable in the long run. You just kind of have to roll the dice with whichever company you go towards. So
I tweeted and your phone made the Intel sound.
Damn, they're on it. Illuminati! Illuminati!
It's a little creepy.
Shite. Thank you very much, Glenn, for the donation. Appreciate it, brother. Let Kyle sing. You really don't want that to happen, and I really have nothing to sing about at this point. Maybe perhaps by the end of this half of the show, we might get some singing in there. We'll see.
Something to look forward to.
Empty promises. Let's talk about our next story.
Or I could be lying to your faces.
Or I could be lying to all of you. But hey, good luck if you work for Intel. I mean, we got some dude from SpaceX in here allegedly. Kevin, you better not be bullshitting us. But if you work for,
I don't care. I'm
Intel,
just gonna. It doesn't matter if he's lying. I'm gonna go with it.
Why don't you just don't even talk to him? Just show up and be like, "Hey, Kevin invited me here. He watches my live stream." No, you know Kevin, right?
I'm gonna start tweeting to Elon Musk. Be like, dude, Elon, Kevin told me he had the hookup.
The three of us should get beer sometime. Yeah.
He said I could go up in the next Falcon 9 and visit the ISS. just hang out for a day and then come back.
Just don't,
totally cool.
Just don't try landing on the water barge when
yeah.
The one I'm in. Let's just go for land. Just go for the land one. Look at all the Illuminati's in chat.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so we've got pulling your nut, getting your nut all over the place. That nut brown. Next story is about Corsair. Switching gears here. And a lot of you guys have already heard about this. The company has extended their power supply warranty up to 10 years for select units. That is a pretty hefty,
Damn.
extension on the warranty. I think they're the second company just behind EVGA to do this, to have a warranty go that long. And for EVGA, of course, it's on select units as well. But as of now, all AXI, HXI, and RMI and RMX range of power supplies, on the Corsair side, of course, have had their warranty increased to 7 to 10 years. And the cool thing about that is it's not just newly purchased units. If you already have an existing unit in one of these family lines, then it is eligible and automatically good to go for that extra warranty. So that's really cool. I really like that Corsair's putting that on board.
There's the series, by the way.
There are the different series. I think I have an AXI. I have an AXI 1200 watt, which I'm really hoping dies on me, just so I could take advantage of the warranty.
Want to return it, cost Corsair as much money as possible.
I'll keep the old one as a paperweight.
I thought this was interesting because I didn't think about this till just now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I should say I think this is interesting. Isn't 10 years how the warranty that you get on a car? Usually, isn't it like a 10? I guess sometimes
Possibly.
maybe 20, up to 20 years. I used to remember that. Maybe I'm going back to the powertrain warranty. Is that what they called it?
The powertrain.
I don't know. Powertrain just meant it was exclusive to certain parts of the car that could fit. So that if other parts failed, it wasn't under warranty anymore.
I see.
But
so
calling it a powertrain warranty made it sound like it was more powerful.
It does. Just throw the word power in there.
That also could be completely wrong. I don't know for sure. I just like to point out when I'm not 100% sure about things. But yeah, I feel like 10 years is a warranty. It's like a car year warranty. Yeah, 10 years, 100,000 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? Andrew knows.
And I think, I've never used a Corsair power supply, or any power supply really, for 10 years straight.
So Corsair is basically promising that their power supplies can power vehicles at this point.
I don't think that's what the article is referencing.
But that's implied.
Is it?
They can't state that outright, but it's implied. Powertrain is only 5 or 6 years. Powertrain is a transmission and drivetrain.
Maybe it could power...
Powertrain is the most important part of the car.
Could it power 2 cars at once?
But the powertrain isn't what brakes. What brakes is like the windows. My power windows.
Carfire or SLI?
Or the car catches on fire.
Crossfire? Cars?
I feel like... Do you know anything about cars? I don't.
No.
I mean,
I'm not Jay.
I don't change my oil.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could do that kind of basic stuff, but I can't tell you how to deconstruct a carburetor or.
All right, I just want to establish the expectation for anyone who's expecting us to be like car things and say anything legitimate. That's not. We can talk about computers.
We're too nerdy for that.
Cars.
We're not cool like Jay.
My problem was always that I
was too poor.
Yes, I was too poor, and when I had
poor
a car,
to make it a hobby.
When I had a car, I had to drive the car every time. I had a Volkswagen Bug. That was my first car in high school.
Yeah,
and those were really good, tinkering cars. There's just a ton of stuff you could do with them. Lots of documentation on them. I would have loved to have just taken that car completely apart in the garage and put the whole thing back together just to kind of see how everything worked. But I had to drive it all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Or all the cars I've ever had have just been not worthy of upgrading or investing any kind of money into because they were either hand-me-downs or just kind of really basic bitch cars. We had a Civic. I wasn't gonna throw in a freaking cold air intake and that shit. So it was just it's got power locks. That was all I needed to know.
That's all you need
about that car.
That's security.
Yep. Okay. All right. So thanks EVGA for all that shit.
That was Corsair.
Thanks, Corsair. And EVGA, fuck it. EVGA 2 for already haven't done it.
There you go.
10-year
warranty. That's nice.
Yeah, it is. Cool stuff. So we got Raijintek and their new Morpheus 2 Core Edition GPU cooler. This is an aftermarket cooler for a wide range of AMD or NVIDIA GPUs. It supports most modern cards from either team. And it's pretty cool looking. I like the way it looks. I like the design. It handles up to 360 watt TDP. With the dual 120mm fans. This can also be used passively, by the way. So if you wanted to, for example, the Morpheus 1, the original Morpheus, didn't come with fans, I believe. It was just the heatsink. So if you had a low-power GPU, you could just slap that on, be good to go. However, if you have something that's a little bit more intense, you can slap on a couple fans and be good on that. It's got 12 copper heat pipes and 129 aluminum fins. It's got a heatsink for the RAM and VRM, which does come with thermal adhesive to minimize the thermals there. It also is black coated. You can't really tell too much from the video, but it's not super like bright and reflective-y like a lot of like traditional heatsinks are that aren't coated or painted or anything. So it kind of has like a stealthy vibe to it. And I think it's just a really simple looking solution to cooling maybe like a reference cooler or I'm sorry, a reference card, something like that doesn't really get, the greatest temps. I haven't really seen a price for it yet on any of the sites that I was researching. However, I'm hoping that it's not, more than $80 to $100 at least.
As fun as the cooler is, I got excited about this part.
All the little heat sinks.
Look at all the heatsink VRMs
that it comes with
that they give you.
I know it's very.
Those are so handy.
You get to like tinker with them and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's got one large, that larger heatsink I believe is for the VRM, and then you've got the little ones for the RAMs.
Yeah.
For all the RAM chips. But this is a cool cooler. It's cooler. It's cooler than most coolers I've seen, which makes it pretty cool. Designed in Germany, made in Taiwan. And Raijintek.
I like German design and I like Taiwanese food,
so it must be good.
Actually, I like lots of things that are made in Taiwan.
But I like German food too, and I like Taiwanese women.
Taiwanese Germans.
I like Taiwanese Germans. I'm a man of the people. I like them all the same. All right, let's move on to the next story, which is about the PlayStation 4 Neo. And Paul was going to talk about this in his half of the show. And then he gave the story to me because he realized he took all the good stories this morning and tossed me a bone.
Just getting you back.
Getting me back.
Getting you back for last week.
I know. It is fairly even though. Like I feel like it's about right on par. Like sometimes you'll get the good stories first, sometimes I will, but it always evens out. Neither one of us can possibly get up early enough every single week.
Every Tuesday morning
to score all the good stories.
Every Tuesday morning is a bloodbath.
Like, I woke up this morning, and, like, when you wake up, you kind of check your phone on Twitter and stuff, and I got an email, and it was like, Paul's Hardware has shared a document with you. I'm like, ah!
Which was exactly my response last week.
Right.
No, but last week it sucked because I had breakfast. I had actually gotten up at a reasonable time, and I was like, I'm going to have breakfast.
I have time.
Yeah. It's like making coffee or whatever, and like get the thing, I'm like, shit, like, breakfast, and I grab it. And like, by the time I sat down and pulled the thing up, and Kyle had like
10 stories.
The entire tech internet was anyway. Okay.
The whole hardware subreddit.
That's right. It's an unending battle. But anyway, back to the PlayStation 4.
Yes.
What is it? The PlayStation 4K?
Neo. No. Well,
the PlayStation 4.5.
No.
The Neo.
Neo is what it's codenamed. I don't know if that's the official retail name, but as for now, we can confirm that is the code name, PS4 Neo. Which I think is kind of silly, but whatever. It's just a code name. So they did reveal some specs based on the Neo versus the original PS4, and what we can conclude here and take away from this article is that the CPU of the Neo has a 30% boost in performance, so going from 1.6 gigahertz to 2.1 gigahertz on the CPU. So sizable boost there on the processor. Remember, this is an APU, so for the GPU side, the Neo has double the GPU cores with almost a 14% overclock, giving it a 228% more GPU performance than the original PS4, and that's not including any performance gains from the improved GCN architecture, because they have done some revisions to the architecture of this APU that is supposed to also benefit the performance in some way. It also uses faster DDR5, so we've got slightly more memory bandwidth there. But what I took away from all of this was that we should stop calling it the PlayStation 4K, because even with these improved specs, it can't really run AAA titles at 4K comfortably. It's just not going to happen. Even with all of these improvements, at the most you're going to be doing 1080 at higher frame rates, or 1080p at with more eye candy, for example. There are some like low intensive games that you could probably run at 4K, and there's also the option of upscaling. However, if you're talking about something like the next Assassin's Creed or Tomb Raider, that you're not going to be playing those games at 4K at 30 FPS.
If I may play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Okay. One, it having the capability for 4K playback of media
Blu-rays and shit.
is somewhat important as the PS4 being the central hub of your home theater entertainment system.
Sure.
And if we're talking strictly as like we're both PlayStation reps, talking about how we're going to market and sell this to all those poor saps out there.
So if we're liars?
If we call it 4K and it can play 4K movies, then everyone will simply assume
that it
that
can play
the
4K
games are 4K as well.
Wow. That really is devil's advocate.
That's true.
But yeah, I guess you could look at it that way, Paul, and everyone will hate you for it. But if that's your marketing scheme,
no, they've talked about that. They've had that discussion in executive meetings at Intel in their marketing department.
At Intel?
I'm sorry, Sony.
Okay.
Sony.
Wow, Illuminati confirmed.
Sorry.
Intel's in on it.
We just talked about that Intel story, and
they're sabotaging the AMD, the APU. I can't handle it. I don't know what's going on.
It's all conspiracy.
It's all conspiracy. Yes, I agree. It would be a brilliant marketing ploy to call it the PS4K if that was the official name for it. However deceiving that might be, as when people get it, they realize the only thing that they can do in 4K on that system is maybe like a 4K Blu-ray or something like that, which would be pretty unfortunate. So, I don't know. I can't see how they could charge much more for this system when it's not going to be that much better than the original PlayStation 4. Maybe $100 or $200 more. I mean, even then.
This move seems weird to me. I mean, like, I understand why they're doing it.
It's the first time a console's done this, right?
Yeah, like a new revision of a. I mean,
with improved specs?
I mean, there have been revisions
to the
of consoles, but
form factor
but
and
their
stuff.
revisions still. It's still like the Xbox 360 that came out in 2005 and the Xbox 360 that came out in 2007 were not the same machine, but they were still both an Xbox 360, and they still both performed within a certain specification.
They have the same specs, though, right?
Not entirely.
Are they?
They did change some of the internals. New hardware came out that was more efficient and whatever. But I mean, it's still they didn't like suddenly give it more power or anything like that.
Right.
They would use different chips. Yeah. Anyway. I don't want to go too far into that because I don't know the details, and I don't like talking about that unless I know the details and I can tell you specifically.
I just thought it no longer had a red ring of death, and that was like, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean but that's part of what they were trying to do. Is like
right.
they have newer hardware that can run cooler, so you do that, and then you have less heat-based failures, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is weird to me, and I don't know if you were discussing this as part of this story, but I know it was one of the things that had popped up when I was researching stuff earlier today, which is that there's a bunch of game developers who are pretty irritated and pissed off at Sony about this.
Yeah.
Because the accommodations that they're having to make for this sort of in between, not quite PlayStation 5, but PlayStation 4.5 that can do more than the PlayStation 4, but now we have to have it runs one way if it's got the PlayStation 4.5 and it runs a different way if it's got the PlayStation 4.
It's just another kind of port in a way that they have to.
It's almost like, what they have to sometimes deal with when they're designing it for PCs that can run on a whole wide range of different hardware and stuff. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's definitely weird.
I feel like it's Sony's answer to PC gamers actually, where it's like, okay, well, the one argument that PC gamers always have over consoles, or one of the many ones that they have, is that we can upgrade our systems however often we want. Whereas a PlayStation or like a gaming console is what, every 5 to 7 years that a new one comes out. You know what I mean? Like the generation between consoles is pretty few and far between. So I think maybe they're just trying to create a stopgap between the original PlayStation 4 and when they come out with the PlayStation 5, a couple of years down the line. And so I feel like this is their answer to that. Like, well, look, if you're sick and tired of your old, if your PlayStation 4 is feeling slow and sluggish, then you can go ahead and hop onto this one with newer hardware. But I don't think that's necessarily the same kind of upgrade that you might see from spending, a couple $100 more on a new graphics card for a PC, for example. I think that's probably going to really, make a huge difference in terms of your gaming performance, as opposed to just, overclocking the APU on the CPU and GPU side, and maybe being able to play 4K Blu-rays. Like, that just seems so marginal to me that I don't really know what their game plan is, how they're marketing it. You know what I mean? What are they going to say? Now plays Blu-rays in 4K.
All I know is
Is that the biggest thing?
all I know is I'm super happy that I held out and didn't buy the PlayStation 4 when it launched. Now I can get the PS4.5.
As long as you don't call it the 4K, the PS4K.
The PS4K?
Yep. I don't like it.
The PS Fork? That's kind of what it is, the PlayStation Fork.
It will fork over many people. Let's move on to our next story, which is about Colorful. Not many people are super aware of this brand because it's mostly like a Chinese or Taiwanese company, and it doesn't sell to
I'm aware of them.
every country. I am too.
Why are we aware of them, Kyle?
Because we go to Computex and we've seen a couple of their cards. Like I think at Newegg we had a couple of Colorful cards.
The last Computex, when I was still working at Newegg, which would have been 2014, was when they were doing something with Colorful.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't work there anymore. But all I know is I was sent over to do some coverage on the Colorful booth.
Oh yeah, right. That's right.
I was told some specs like Colorful is
The best.
or like the number one volume producer of certain things like within China.
Right.
Of motherboard. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know specifically. I was also told that Chang Hong is the best TV brand ever, and that's isn't that true?
And 50,000 RMAs later, we've discovered
you could get a damn cheap 4K TV from them. Though.
definitely the cheapest, perhaps.
Damn cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like almost like they're hot. Like you bought them from some dude off of Craigslist in his little shady warehouse.
It's almost like you feel
That's
like
where they came from.
Like they must be. No, never mind. So why are we talking about Colorful, Kyle?
We're talking about Colorful because they just announced a new GTX 980 Ti, the iGame KUDAN. KUDAN. I'm not sure what that means, but this is their most powerful card ever. It's sporting an interesting hybrid cooler that integrates large heat sinks with integrated water cooling loop.
Huh.
So yeah, you can kind of see it if you look at the front shot of it. Yeah, you can get right there under that first fan. You can kind of see a water block. It's got 5 heat pipes that pull heat away from the GPU and to the fin array.
This is like a.
Yeah.
Is that like a pump?
Yeah, that's like a pump block.
It's like an Ace Tech pump down there.
Kind of, yeah.
It's a triple slot
card.
We haven't seen this since the 580.
580, a triple slot card?
Right?
I think. What about like Power Color? Didn't Power Color do like the Devil 13 or some shit?
Maybe.
That was a triple slot.
I think of the
bastard.
Asus 580.
Yeah, that
GTX
was
580.
That was a very notable behemoth as well.
Okay.
But yeah, based on the pictures I can see, the RAM and VRM are air-cooled only. So really you're only getting the liquid cooling on the GPU, which I guess is kind of expected for an integrated card like this. It does support custom loop expansion, however. So if you wanted to slot this card in and connect it to the rest of your loop, a custom loop, so it's connected to some radiators or your CPU block, for example, you could do that.
The pictures provided here are terrible.
Yeah, you don't get a shot of the front, the faceplate of the GPU, the part that you would most likely see if it was installed in a traditional mid-tower case, for example. You don't get to see any of that.
And it's got one of these scary buttons.
It's an overclock button.
I feel like Galax or Galaxy, formerly Galaxy, now Galax, likes to do this. Put a big ass button on the back of the card.
Sapphire does that too.
Sapphire does it. Do you ever push the button?
No.
Do you use the button?
No.
I don't like the big ass button.
I don't know what it does.
So I'll go in and I'll use the software if I want to overclock. I don't need a big ass button on the card. Okay.
No, it scares me.
Sorry.
It's like
big buttons.
It's like the red button in the car from MIB. Remember in Men in Black?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Never press the red button. Never press the red button. That's like
we save that for the climax of the movie. That's when you push the button.
When shit gets real.
Exactly. No, I don't like the button. I don't mind a switch like a BIOS switch. That's useful.
Fine.
That's functional. If this button switches BIOS, then I take everything back.
Yeah.
But if it's a turbo mode button or whatever, just give me software.
Although a BIOS switch shouldn't be in the form of that kind of button, because then you won't know which BIOS you're in. It should be a switch that goes from 1 to 2, so you're like, you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, I'm in the backup BIOS. Okay, I'm good.
However, having it external would make it more usable than having it be the little switch that's usually on the edge of the
External
PCB.
switch is the perfect solution.
Yes.
Combine both of our
Why
ideas.
do no graphics cards have that?
I think Colorful needs this. They need us in their
Colorful,
life.
or whoever's watching this live stream right now. How many people are watching this?
Who?
We have there's
400
or 500 people on each of our streams watching this. Thank you guys all for being here, by the way.
Yes.
At least one of you must work for a graphics card company. Give us a little switch on the back of the card instead of a stupid turbo button.
Yeah.
That like does a BIOS switch or something. That'd be useful.
Right. I agree. Stop digging us around.
Free money.
Stop digging us around.
Free money for you right there.
Also, yeah, the timing on this card is kind of horrible because Pascal's just like a few weeks away.
Yeah, this is a...
And not just any Pascal, like we're talking about the GP100 or, you know, like the high-end Pascal line, so directly competing with a GTX 980 Ti. Let me have a sip of this.
Oh, sure.
Let me just take a sip. I really like the nut brown.
Me too. Straight from the bottle.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Did you just pick that up today?
No, I've had this. I found that when I go to Bevmo, I just grab one of these by default because I like to have one there. Anyway, sorry, somebody in chat was asking what kind of beer this is. This is AleSmith Nut Brown.
Nut Brown.
This is a very, very tasty English-style brown ale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our next segment, which is Guess the Audience, which we have not done
that's fun.
in quite a while, so I'm excited to be doing it today. Now, the way this works is that we have a series of 5 different straw polls, 5 different questions or surveys that we are going to send to you guys, the live audience, and then Paul and I will guess on what answer is most likely going to appear from your guys' votes or your results. And then whoever loses that particular round or that particular question has to take a large swig of beer, of their beverage, as a punishment. And so we've got 5 in total. And
God, I hope I lose.
I know it's just a really cruel, harsh punishment.
I know
for either of us to indulge in this beer. So I'm not looking forward to this at all. You can clearly see I'm a masochist, and
somebody's telling us to drink soda instead of beer.
And Paul did not just nut in my mouth, so that is not.
There's a little bit of my nut that went red.
I mean, a little bit of his nut brown. It's an ale. It's the beer, the nut beer.
I would argue that soda is empty calories, whereas beer, yes, also calories.
But at least you're getting a nice buzz.
You know, you get a little buzzed and it's tasty.
You get to unwind. No one's ever like, I'm going to unwind with a Diet Coke.
Yes, indeed.
Never said that. Said no one ever. Okay, so wait, do you have any more pale ale?
Yeah.
Or is that,
you want one?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to need it because I'm probably going to lose a couple of these.
Bag. This is my mobile bag.
I was showing it to them earlier. I was like, "Don't judge a bag by its cover. It's what's on the inside that counts." And I pulled out a beer.
All right, so it's a little backstory here. My lovely, wonderful wife has a bit of a weird obsession with these
cooler bags.
These cooler bags that you
so
take like lunches in or whatever.
Yeah.
And she has a collection of them, but then she goes to shop or whatever, and she sees them and she's like, ooh, and then she, it's got a cute pattern on it. So yeah. Oh no, you drank the
they're
last
all
one.
out. Oh shit.
I thought I had another, but yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, you killed it.
Well then, how am I gonna compete?
You should go get another beer.
Okay. I'm gonna go crack open a Pliny.
You have more beer ooh, a Pliny.
Yeah. I will be right back. Why don't you go ahead and administer the first
yeah, we can do that.
question, and then you can argue your answer.
All right, guys and girls, males and females. Presumably there are both genders here. Although according to Google we tend to skew more male heavy, but All right. I'm gonna share this little straw poll in chat, so you guys can pull it up and take a look, and of course vote whatever you feel. I have no idea what Kyle has set up for this. All right. Pardon me. So, obviously this is derived from us having spent the past weekend up at Land Syndicate in Seattle. That was quick.
Was it?
Did you run up the stairs? I don't know.
Yeah, I was hustling.
I was just taking my time to do the straw poll. All right, so yeah, obviously Kyle. Wait, what am I doing? I'm not even showing this correctly.
You haven't even shown it to them.
No, they can see it right now. I was scrolling over here, and I was wondering why it wasn't appearing over here, and then I realized it wasn't. All right. How many big-ish LAN parties have you been to? What are we saying, big-ish? Say 10 or more people?
No, well, I didn't really know how to phrase it, but basically anything that's like not like at your friend's house.
Okay.
If it's like an event that's hosted by some other party or company or whatever.
So something other, yeah. If it's 3 or 4 friends getting together, granted, yes, that is a LAN party.
Right.
We wouldn't just not say that, but big-ish.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
20 or more.
Does it count with like an internet cafe type experience or a gaming thing like that? Would that count?
No. I mean like like a PDX LAN or something like that.
An actual LAN party, a coordinated event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And a lot of communities have those that are just local. That does happen.
No, yeah, definitely.
So
There's
right,
one
we got all the options here. And Kyle and I, of course, have to guess the audience. So we have to guess what we think is kind of the average number for all y'all.
Right.
This is a difficult question here, Kyle, because LAN parties are less popular than they used to be.
They are.
However, our audience is probably way more likely than most people to have attempted to go to a LAN party or have actually gone to one.
Right.
I don't know why I even said attempted. Sorry, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 3 to 5 because that's probably what you were gonna try to say, and now you have to do something else.
Nope, you're wrong.
I was wrong.
I was gonna say 1 to 2.
Kyle's gonna say 1 to 2.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Because I'm right.
All right.
I already know. I cheated. No, I didn't cheat.
Is that all? We just have to wait now.
Yeah. Let him. Why do you think it's 3 to 5?
Why do I think it's 3 to 5? Because that's how many I've been to.
You've been to 3 to 5?
No, I've been to more than that. I've probably been to 6 to 10.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, I don't think I think LAN Syndicate was my first one.
I only just now noticed that you put exactly 23.
I hope that one doesn't win.
That's good. That's good. No more, no less. And I will never attend another LAN party.
It's like, oh shit, my answer's right there.
To maintain this number. Okay, LAN parties, that's your first ever actual LAN?
I think so. Because here's the thing. I've covered several events that had LAN parties at them. Like, Intel does a lot of LAN parties like PAX East and things like that. And
I was going to say, do you count PAX East as a LAN party?
No, I wouldn't.
Why wouldn't you? You said how many biggish LAN parties have you been to? PAX East has a massive BYOC area.
But have you actually brought your PC and participated in that whole...
That was not part of the question. All you said is, have you been there? You were at PAX East. Therefore, you were at that big LAN party.
You should just know what I mean. You should just read my mind.
You should be more freaking specific with your question.
You should read my mind.
If you're going to be splitting hairs here. Are we splitting hairs?
We're splitting hairs.
We're splitting hairs here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
Okay. How many biggish exclusive LAN parties that you've brought your PC to have you been to?
Have you brought your computer to and participated in?
With your own will.
Well, see, now you have a ton of people.
Without other things happening.
A ton of people were excited to vote on this. Were like jumped in there like, yeah, I'm going to participate.
No.
And now they've realized that this entire question was just a sham. And that
you're a shame.
They've been misled. Okay. All right, we're ready. We're ready to...
Okay.
See
let's see what you guys thought.
All right. None.
None? Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
And 1 to 2, so you win. Okay. Wow, lots of people have never been to a LAN.
I should have just gone with none.
I don't know why I didn't even consider none.
I know. I was like, well, it's got to be at least one.
Now that I think about it, yes, of course none.
Yeah.
Like most people have been to none. But
right.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, you got 1 to 2 with double the 3 to 5 count, so.
I know.
All right.
Jeez. That's
all
crazy.
Right, guys. Well, hey, we can say, I can say, I don't know, you can say I agree if you want. I can say, having just been to a LAN party and having enjoyed many LAN parties in the past, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I find that the people who go to LAN parties, especially now, are a very select and well tended to group of people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just all like, it's a positive environment. Let me get here's a story from LAN Syndicate. Friday, right, was the first day of the LAN. A lot of people got there early, because they wanted as much gaming and landing and commuting time as possible.
Sure.
10 a.m. or whatever. Friday was really spotty when it came to the internet. Comcast, there were some issues. It was BS, whatever. There was some kind of irritating internet issues the first day.
Yeah.
The vibe in the whole day never seemed anything towards negative at all to me.
No, not at all.
Granted, people are like, man, internet's not working. Obviously it was a little bit of a, it wasn't ideal, but everyone was just making the best of it. They were doing other stuff. They were hanging out. They were talking, all that kind of good stuff. So I felt something like that, I don't know. It was a good example to me of the type of crowd that goes to LANs now. So if you guys have the opportunity, I highly recommend trying to go.
It's like, wow, a bunch of people who share this common, the something in common on the internet. Mm-hmm. Don't need the internet necessarily to just have a good time. And it was just kind of cool to see all of us like homebody, hermit kind of introverted people just existing and having a good time, just talking to each other and socializing while we were trying to get the internet thing solved. And a lot of people who were just attendees, who were not even part of the Tech Syndicate staff, were on board, constantly working towards trying to get the internet
help
up.
All that good stuff. So
it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So guys, if you've never been to one, really recommend just trying to get to one. There's lots of regional ones that are pretty huge. PDX LAN, obviously in Portland, is one that's happens multiple times throughout the year and is very popular. There's like QuakeCon. They just had DreamHack. Or wait, is DreamHack?
DreamHack just happened.
They're having a DreamHack in Texas that either just happened or is about to happen.
Right.
Sorry, I'm not sure, but yeah. Anyway,
that would have been fun.
Go to LANs, they're fun.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Next up, we've got the next question is what percentage of viewers have exactly 2 SSDs in their system? So this is really the question for you and I, Paul.
Oh.
So the audience is supposed to just vote honestly how many SSDs you have in your PC, and then Paul and I have to guess what percentage of you effers have exactly 2 SSDs in your system.
I see.
So, and if you see the little note there, we have to guess. Our guesses have to be at least 10% away from the other host's answer.
Okay.
So I can't say 30% and you say 31 or 29.
So we can't do the prices right.
We can't do the prices right. Shtick.
Okay.
So I think you answered first the last question, so I'm gonna go first this time.
Yep.
I'm gonna say.
I just linked the links in chat, by the way.
Cool, thank you.
On YouTube and Twitch.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to say 10%.
Here's a question from chat. Does a SSHD count? A solid-state hard drive. For instance, a Seagate Momentus XT.
I'm not going to count that.
What do you think? Kyle says no.
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Fuck you and your Momentus XT. You think you got a solid-state drive? You don't. You use a mechanical spinning drive in there.
Well,
you're fooling yourself.
Well, here, what? This goes back to you and like your being specific questions. So what do what do you determine this as? Do you think like SSDs means anything that has remotely a piece of an SSD in it or an actual SSD in it goes, or do you see this as purest SSD? How many SSDs, like not hybrid drive SSDs, but how many SSDs do you have? So which way do you see it, Paul? You and your particulars.
All right, makes me feel like a fascist, but I'm going to go with what you said, and yeah, SSD only, SSHDs don't count.
Okay.
Because a solid-state drive is a solid-state drive,
and which
means solid-state, no moving parts,
right.
And an SSHD has moving parts in it.
True. There's a completely different acronym for what you're talking about.
That sounds valid.
Okay, so I'm going to say...
what percentage have 2?
I said 10%, but I'm going to go with 15%.
15. 15% have
because we're enthusiasts here. We're enthusiasts.
This is a good question, Kyle. This is difficult.
Right?
This is a challenge.
Right? Makes you think.
It's
something we don't do much here on Awesome Hardware, that's for sure.
Because I would have to say the majority probably has 1. Right? Of our audience?
Sure.
Majority has to have 1. I would say probably probably 80-90% of you guys have at least 1 SSD in there by now, right?
Right.
Granted, there's a few holdouts still rocking the mechanicals, and you guys...
Budget systems, sure.
You're on a... Yeah, whatever. I don't blame you. Get an SSD. You won't be disappointed. All right. So since you said 15.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go high. I gotta go 25 then.
Okay.
25 or more.
Then I'm hoping for 19 or less, and you're hoping for 21 or less.
What if it's 20?
If it's 20, then we both drink.
So it's 20. We both drink. Who won the last one?
Then we both win. I won the last one, so you have to take a big gulp, a big effing gulp. Don't go shy on that shit. There you go.
That's pretty decent.
Righteous.
Okay.
Honestly, you might be right. You might be right. We do have a very enthusiastic audience. A lot of the systems that I've seen.
You got lots of people who went right for it, like back and got 228 gig SSDs and were running them in RAID 0.
Yeah.
You know, because that's nice.
Yeah. Of course.
I gotta love those RAID 0 SSDs.
We're using like a smaller one, right. Cache drive or something.
Have we waited long enough? Can we see the results?
I think so.
It's time. All right. Results.
26%. You win.
Ooh.
Wow. Look at that.
That's right.
Beautiful.
You weren't even close.
No, I wasn't. I should have gone with 20. I should have gone with your answer.
Should have
just done.
I should have said what you said.
Very, very nice.
Right.
Very
well
done.
Hey,
wow.
nice guys.
So a quarter of our audience.
Adoption. 16% said none. Okay, all right. That's
yeah.
I was thinking 80-90% probably
right.
would have at least a single SSD.
Yeah.
4% with 4 or more. That's a good question.
Yeah.
So here's not. I mean, we should move on. But if you ever ask this question in the future,
which I totally will.
I, for instance, in my editing PC, which I guess I don't know what I would call my main PC right now. Anyway, I'm unique. All right, let's say in my editing PC I have 3 SSDs. I have a operating system, and then I have 2 in RAID 0 that I edit off.
Right.
But then I have another, a laptop that also runs off of an SSD.
Okay.
That I also use a lot. Does that mean I answer 3, or would I answer 4?
You would only answer whatever was in your primary desktop.
Okay.
I would think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I guess when I say in your PC, if people have 20 PCs or something, they would probably think.
And according to the way the question was asked, that's correct. But all right.
All right, I'm gonna have to get really specific with my questions in the future, just to accommodate you and
I'm
your
just
special
saying
needs.
There's a lot riding on this, and people
will
often rail you over the little details.
Everyone does want to rail me.
Okay.
So I have to take a big swig now, right?
Yes, you do. Okay, next question. What are you most excited to use VR for?
And the options are...
I'm glad I get to answer first on this one.
Fuck you. The options are shooters.
The answers are not porn, not porn, not porn, not porn, and porn.
Yeah. Yeah. I know where all of your hearts lie.
Shooters, open world flying games, simulators.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
Strategy and puzzle games.
I love puzzles. Yeah, puzzles are great.
Porn.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with porn. Yeah. Why do you think I left it for last?
Yeah.
So okay. Paul's gonna say porn because it's obviously.
Let me make my unnecessary. This is way longer of an argument than it should be.
Because porn.
It's porn because our audience is our audience, and that's what they're gonna vote for.
Because it's the internet.
Okay.
And if you look at internet statistics, porn is like it's like the #1 most viewed type of content on the internet.
It's the dark horse on the internet. I mean,
is.
Everyone talks about what is it, 30% of all internet traffic is porn?
It's the #1.
Some ridiculous thing like
that. The internet
that.
equals porn.
Anyway.
And then just for fuck's sake, because I have to.
Why didn't you do something on this like you did in the last one? What percentage would be porn? That would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Because I didn't want to repeat the same type of question.
I'm going to say 47%.
Differentiating
47%, by the way.
Do you want to just do...
porn.
We could just do percentage. Since we both know that...
If you're willing to accept your loss and argue that just as a side bet, then sure.
Let's make it the primary bet. Fuck it.
No, I have nothing to gain in that sense. Other than drinking at my leisure.
Okay,
I prefer to drink at my leisure. I'll drink with you.
All right, so we're betting on the percentage then of porn.
Okay.
You said 40.
I said 47%.
47%. I'm gonna say 60.
Porn because the audience is horny as hell.
I'm gonna say 60.
60.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
I'm feeling pretty confident in the horniness of our audience.
Think of the audience.
I'm counting on
The demographic is skewing young today, I feel like.
Yes, absolutely.
Not to say there's anything wrong with being younger. I'm
No.
just saying younger dudes are hornier. That's pretty established.
No, I'm sure there's older dudes that are horny too.
Older dudes are horny too.
Yeah.
Younger dudes like blah, blah,
I mean,
just anywhere they, right?
Well, if you're like super young and you're still getting into
when I was 17, I just
you feel the curve of a doorknob, you're like, oh.
You brush up against me and it's just you know,
Feel like something really smooth. You're like, oh, hey.
It's like when she's walking through the jails in Silence of the Lambs, right? Anyway,
any little bit'll do.
Wait, what were you arguing for?
60%.
60%.
You said 47.
60% to 47. Guys, all getting your votes in. We're giving you a few more seconds here.
Roll them in, roll
Get
in.
all those votes in.
Put it in, y'all. Put it in.
All right.
Put it in.
Results. 50%.
Oh, you win again.
I win again.
Damn, that was close. And it went to 49.
And
even
dropping
closer.
down to 49. Simulators, though.
Shit.
Really, simulators more than shooters.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Kind of.
Because I think the simulators thing, it coincides more closely with reality.
Yeah.
Where it's like you really are...
Like Valve's Job Simulator.
Right. I think...
which is actually really, really fun.
Super duper.
Yeah.
I can see that.
All right, 49%. So most of you guys are gonna need lots of wipes available for the headset after you. I don't know.
And I have a very interesting news article in the next segment in VR Update that you guys will probably get a kick out of, since I know now about 50% of you are interested in this particular topic. So stay tuned for that in just a few minutes. But why don't we go ahead and move on to the next question here for Guess the Audience.
Real quick. Just want to point out. All right. Right, we've talked about some of Jason's articles about VR because he's been doing a lot of demos and he's been trying out the Valve and the Rift and the Vive.
Yeah.
He's talked already about sweat when it comes to VR headsets.
Yeah. Imagine that with VR porn. You're gonna be like a sweaty, greasy mess.
If you're gonna be, delving into that,
blast your AC and get a fan. Get a couple fans. You need good airflow. Liquid cooling is best.
All good advice. I'm just saying, be considerate. Know that someone else might use your headset. Just wipe it down.
Make sure.
I know the sweat is coming from up here, and I know you might think like, oh, I play a video game and it gets sweaty, and then the other thing, it's different. It's kind of different, right? You know what I'm saying here, right?
Yeah. Make sure the headset doesn't stick to the next person.
There's a certain amount of shame in that sweat that goes into that. A certain amount of
your FAP sweat.
Yeah.
Your FAP sweat shouldn't be like leaking on to like the person who wears your headset next.
Else.
There should be like VR etiquette. There should be like VR headset etiquette.
I agree.
You don't really need to worry about that too much with controllers because it's just your hands. They're all filthy anyway. But when it's on your freaking face, then you should probably wipe that shit down anytime you sneak a beat or whatever. Whether it's in Vive or Rift. Because you don't want like your mom being like, "Hey, oh my gosh, this is such a great experience," and she's like, "Why is it all wet? And why isn't this mask coming off? It's stuck. It's stuck, Jimmy. It's stuck. Jimmy, oh, Mom, let's just let me get the 409 out. Oh shit, what did I do?" You don't want that to be you. That should not be your virtual reality or your actual reality.
I know we're derailing more and more here, but I feel like we're offering good advice here.
I think we are. I think this is like good life tips from Kyle and Paul.
You know that classic scene of like the mom walks in on the teenage son masturbating or whatever, right? And the son's like, oh, whatever. Like, what's that going to be in the future now? Because if she walks in,
you're blind.
You got the VR headset.
You're blind.
You're not going to stop. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Every nerd now needs a freaking lock on his bedroom door.
She just gets to sit there and watch and try to imagine, like, why is he reaching around and bending in a certain way to do whatever the hell is going on in there? There's got to be a...
Now I knew why I had no grip on the touch controller.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of YouTube videos on that. That'll be fun to watch. Okay. Let's move on. Guess the audience.
All right. Next question. Let's roll through these here. Do viewers? This is question number 4. Do viewers use an optical drive at least once a month? So we are trying to decipher or determine the prevalence still of optical drives for all y'all. So this is a really simple yes or no question for you guys. Do you use an optical drive at least once a month? You either have yes or no. So yeah, that should kind of determine, you know, what Paul and I have to work with. And we have to say...
I believe you're up.
Yes or no. And I think... once a month is tricky. Because I purposely phrased it that way. Because once a month is like... It's not that like regularly, but it is kind of regularly for this day and age, right? Like, I personally don't use an optical drive even once a month. I haven't used an optical drive in like a year, probably. But that's just me, and I don't know what other people are currently doing. You know, it doesn't even have to be like optical media that you're reading. It could be something that maybe you make Blu-rays at home or something like that. So I don't know. It's a tricky question, but I'm gonna say yes. No. Yes. I'm just gonna say yes. I'm gonna say the majority of people use an optical drive at least once a month. So okay. What are you going to say?
If you had said no, I would have agreed with you and said I'm wrong and taken my drink and said no. Since you said yes, I will say no, and I think you're wrong.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
You're right.
I am right with you there.
I don't know why I said yes.
I have an optical drive. It's there with an external connector via USB, so I can plug it in emergency situations way less than once a month.
I'm counting on...
Oh, no.
Damn it!
No. No.
I was really hoping that there were some people out there that were either watching Blu-rays or some shit, you know, some optical drive, like JJ. JJ from ASUS, he's a huge advocate of like actually watching optical media on a straight up Blu-ray disc. Like I've talked to him about that before, and he said that like he prefers having the actual physical copy, and that a digital download, for example, just doesn't have the same effect.
You're right, and there are benefits.
He's a collector.
There are benefits, and using a Blu-ray is one of the more viable means of using an optical drive these days. However, it's still rare and becoming rarer.
It is. Yeah.
Also, JJ, atypical.
Not the best sample size for this type of thing.
Yeah.
He is an enthusiast in all realms.
He's amazing in all sorts of different ways.
He does all the things.
Not what I would say normal.
No, not at all.
You know, as far as usage goes.
You heard it from Paul himself. Yeah. JJ, you're a freak.
I did not use that word.
Straight from the horse's mouth. No, we love you, JJ.
Next question.
All right, last and final question. I have to take another drink now because I lost a little... Heather's making stuff.
Oh, God.
I think it's stuffed bell pepper, though. So I don't know if you like bell pepper.
No, I don't.
But the way she makes it,
it smells really good, though.
But have you ever had it like roasted or like cooked? That
I'll just eat it. I'll close my eyes and eat it. Okay. Don't tell me what it is. Just let me smell it. That's usually the best.
It's delicious. Okay, yeah, it's really wafting. It's really wafting. All right, and the last question from guest the audience is: you find this is kind of a more situational.
This is
kind of role playing, right? You find a crying baby in an empty alleyway. What do you do? And the options I have here are bring it to the local authorities, of course. And you've also got hand it off to the first nice person you see. You'll just fuck it up.
Nice people.
Which is also understandable.
Always trust nice people.
You also got bring it home and teach it the ways of the PC master race. Kind of, take it on as one of your own. Maybe hide it from the outside world like it's E.T. or something. And then you've got bring it home and see if it runs Crysis. Or blends. Well, for sure it'll blend. Don't try that, but it might run Crysis. You'll have to test for yourself. And then last but not least, we've got upload a video of your discovery to YouTube and profit. So
get lots of views on that.
Yes. So
gotta monetize.
I'm gonna say you have to bring it home and see if it runs Crysis or blends, because honestly, you're not gonna really know what the baby's capable of until you actually benchmark it. Which is like, you trust that the baby can run Crysis, right? But as they say, trust but verify. And you can blend it. You can blend it later. Once you're like, okay, it runs Crysis, let's blend it.
All right.
Good question, right? It's very relatable.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to have to answer this in their lives one day.
Since obviously the appropriate answer is to bring it to the local authorities, and since you have already taken the option of bring it home and see if it runs Crisis, and since I know how trollish our audience can be at times, lighthearted. It's lighthearted. I will say bring it home and teach it the ways of the PC Master Race.
That's very sensible.
May our frame rates be high and our temperatures low.
Heil Hitler. No, wait. That's not right.
Praise Gaben.
Praise Gaben. Hail Gaben. The Gaben youth.
Wait, I forget how that goes.
The G. Yeah. All right, what do we got?
Now, I'm supposed to say praise Gaben.
Praise Gaben.
You say Gaben be praised.
Gaben be praised. Let's try it again.
Praise Gaben.
Gaben be praised. Oh my God! Someone make a GIF of that. That was beautiful.
We have one of me and Steve doing it.
Timing was so down.
Except we say Gaben. Because I'm stupid. I don't know where I go.
Lord Gaben.
Anyway.
No, you're foreign. You're a foreigner.
It's just a foreign accent.
Lord Gaben.
It's coming through.
Oh.
All right, we're going straight to results here.
What do we got? Wow! We have so many responsible viewers.
Well, you were talking about a baby.
I know. Well, I know, but it's a vote, though. It's a straw poll.
You're right. But
But
if people are taking this at all seriously, then that is the correct answer. Thank you, loyal viewers of Awesome Hardware.
How could they take it seriously based on the answers that were given?
Do you know how many children's lives were saved tonight because of you?
None. Zero.
Probably none.
But that's still...
But theoretically, hundreds.
It's like the theoretical bandwidth of Sega 3.
But
it's just theoretical,
But
Paul.
I still win, too.
It's just theoretical. You still win.
PC Master Race.
Damn you!
If you discover if you discover any child or puppy, any small young creature with cognizance and free will and that kind of thing, you should teach it the ways of the PC Master Race.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
May the force be with you.
Why is your half so long, Kyle?
We're almost done.
All right,
segment 3 is VR updates. Just some really quick updates about VR.
Where'd it go? There it is.
VR
update.
So, Otoy, which is a company that makes cloud-based graphics software for streaming VR and AR content, so that's augmented reality and virtual reality, they've recently announced that 2 major TV networks, including HBO and Discovery, are planning to have them create a universal publishing platform for TV, movies, and original holographic content. Now,
this picture is not photoshopped at all.
It's not photoshopped very well at all. They need to, Engadget needs to hire a new designer, because, damn, I could do a better fucking job than that. That just looks so bad. The angle is completely wrong. Who's the guy? It looks like Jon Stewart trying to do some VR.
It is Jon Stewart, isn't it?
It is, right? Yeah, it is Jon Stewart. It just looks so bad. Engadget, you look a lot like... You look like MS Paint right now.
Okay.
Some MS Paint work right there. Hire your intern. Or fire your intern, I should say. Basically, HBO is already working with said actor and superstar Jon Stewart to create his upcoming project using their Otoys technology. Discovery, as well, is currently offering its own VR content through Discovery VR. So, Discovery is already doing its in-house VR shit. However, they're calling upon this company, Otoy, it's literally O-T-O-Y, to pretty much just take their whole VR experience to the next level. And this is kind of an interesting topic because it made me question whether or not this type of experience with viewing entertainment is going to be eventually one day predominated by a VR experience. So do you think one day entertainment will be solely VR? Or do you think that there's still a place for, within the next 10, 20 years for watching something on a monitor or a TV or some kind of screen as opposed to having a headset? Because I don't know. Do you think
I don't think that projected images will go away. I don't think 2D images will go away as far as being, an image on a wall or a flat screen or something like that. I think that will still be around. But I think once we get to the point where a VR headset is like this,
yeah,
the same as a pair of glasses, and you put it on, and you can see just fine, or it goes into VR mode and suddenly it's shooting stuff onto your retinas,
right,
then yeah, I think most content will be consumed via that, because it'll be sharper, like as far as image quality goes. It'll be interactive in that you'll be able to look around and see more than just what's in front of your face.
Right.
And yeah, I think it'll be a preferred experience for people.
Do you think that'll ring true for like group viewing as well? Like if you're with like 3 or 4 family members in a living room and you're like, let's all watch a movie. Do you think you'll all just like put on your glasses and watch it in unison type of thing? You'll all sync up and the movie will start at the same time sort of thing? Or do you think that's more going to be reserved for like a, more like a sole secluded audience type of thing where it's like it's just you and more an independent type of media consumption?
Like, my gut says, well, I don't know what alright. Like, me having the history that I have right now and just, change being as different, you go from something like viewing a screen, which has been very normal for people for a very long time. Most people who are our age or, even 10, 15, 20, 40 years older than us
right.
are used to watching TV, right? It's a screen, 2D or whatever. It's there in front of you. You watch it. You're looking at it now, and then I look away, and that's real. Like, that seems so natural, but yeah, I feel like once the technology gets to to that point where it's effortless and easy and superior, to just like put on a pair of glasses or whatever, then yeah, I think it will transition over to that, and yeah.
As long as they cater to like the 4 eyes motherfuckers like us who actually already have prescription glasses.
Oh yeah,
and we're not left out of the bunch where we can still throw in some VR glasses. Then
you'll
still
have those that
have full resolution.
That are integrated. You'll be able to buy. Well, probably you'll have LASIK by then that gets done like right as you're born. You're born and they do a little analysis.
Circumcised and then LASIK.
Yeah. Get the LASIK on him, fix up his eyesight so it's perfect.
The future sounds excellent. I cannot wait.
Yep.
Love it.
I hope I don't die.
Hope I don't die.
Hope I don't die before they invent immortality. That'd be cool.
Running out of time, guys. Pick up the pace. Okay, so...
We should have a discussion on that, though. I would like to discuss that in a future episode. No, just being on... We're already over time. Being on the cusp of certain things, like the concept that your brain, your experiences, and your memory could be somehow downloaded and stored digitally.
Like singularity,
so
almost?
That your personality, your conscience, or whatever, could be saved. And even if you physically die or whatever, that somebody could still go into a virtual world and interact with you in the future.
So does that mean you would technically be kind of like reincarnated as an AI?
Yes.
Because it's literally just data that's been pulled from your brain, your memories and shit.
Yeah.
That's been reincarnated into this
yes,
artificial intelligence.
We're very much kind of on the cusp of that. And people who are dying right now, who haven't had that chance to do that,
right.
who might have lived 5, 10, 20 years beyond now,
right.
Could have just barely missed, some virtual level of immortality.
Right.
To some degree. Granted, there's a lot to discuss with that.
Yeah.
And it's way too much to bring up right at the end of an episode.
With the amount of alcohol we've ingested.
In a future episode, I really would love to discuss that.
That would be really interesting.
Okay.
I'm down for it. All right, so let's move on to the next story, which is about VR porn. Going from like super deep to like really deep.
Oh yeah.
We've gone from super deep to really deep.
Well, we hit that once in this episode. We gotta come back to it.
Yes. So VR porn room service might happen in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Porn studio VR Bangers has joined forces with Aura Visor, a British company that crowdfunded its first headset last year.
There's not enough pictures in this article.
I know they're not nearly as enticing as enough. We were talking about teasing earlier.
Yep.
I don't see that as much in this article. So as a trial run, this dynamic duo of companies will be offering VR porn experiences in various Las Vegas have been unnamed for now, for as cheap as $19.99 a pop. Now I don't know what the fuck a pop means. What is a pop really referring to? $20 for like a pop. Like, does that mean like you get one? Is someone like monitoring like he just popped?
A pop.
And then, all right,
a pop is equivalent to an ejaculation, and
is that?
I mean, that's what I would. If you were like, tell me what a pop is, that's how I would define it.
That's what I saw too. I was like, well, if you get your pop off, that seems like worth $20 to some guys.
Yeah.
I would pay $20 for a pop if I was like really in need of a pop. But is that the kind of pop?
From my understanding, on the street, that costs more than that.
But no, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything about regular costs.
Sources that from other people that you've talked to.
I'm married.
You are married.
I'm happily married.
And you don't know what the first thing about pops on the street and how much they cost.
That's right.
I can confirm. But maybe not. Maybe the pop they're referring to is like, the evening or the night that you get to spend with the VR headset or whatever it is. But I don't know. Is $20 a pop worth it?
Have that cuddle time afterwards.
Get the cuddle time, right?
Oh, Vive, you're so realistic, so lifelike.
Grab the grip buttons with the touch controllers. So anyway, the Aura Visor, which is the company that's partnering up with VR Bangers for this initiative, has a headset that's self-contained. It's essentially a self-contained Android device running a modified version of Google's mobile OS. And what you essentially get with that package is a 5-inch screen, 1080 display, 100-degree field of view, access to a custom VR store that's linked to Google Play. So basically, you would have like the room service bring you your VR headset, porn kit. You'd be like, oh, thank you, sir. Well, here's a tip for you. Oh, hey, just the tip. Oh, and then you would be able to like watch whatever. You'd have like different scenes that you could choose from. And I guess a benefit of this is if you were, a businessman or whoever really, and you didn't want to like have any evidence of you like watching or viewing or downloading VR porn on your smartphone, you could just toss all of that onto this VR porn solution from the hotel and wipe your hands clean. So there's no like need to go incognito and stuff like that.
Literally.
Wipe your hands clean, quite literally.
I mean, you should do that anyway, but...
So essentially, if you're on the discreet side, you don't want anyone to like be tracking your VR porn tendencies. There's no incriminating traces or stains left on your personal smartphone, I would say.
All right. On the flip side, though, how comfortable are you going to be renting one of these VR porn devices?
How gnarly is it going to be?
We've already discussed the
etiquette of sweat,
the sweat of shame that is associated with this. So
honestly, are you going
to have any qualms about putting this on when you know what else?
Maid service is going to have to find a way to throw this shit in the washer and dryer in order for me to get behind it. Because I just can't fathom like some sweaty fat dude's, like hand-me-down headset that's going onto my face that has his fap sweat all over it.
Okay.
I think that would just kind of like really take me out of the immersion and defeat the purpose of really what VR porn is supposed to be all about. So hopefully they found a way around that. But there are companies now that are like that are manufacturing like kind of like little slips that go onto the edges of a VR headset, so that you can like replace them and stuff for every user.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So all the sweat absorbs into like the latex cover or whatever it is that goes around the rim. Good old rim job around that VR headset, and that way you don't have to have any kind of association with that person's body stuff.
That would make me feel slightly better.
Yeah, I would totally fap to that. So the other thing is that each VR porn scene that takes place in the headset, it actually happens within a virtual environment that is based off of a Las Vegas hotel room. So while you're watching the VR porn in your hotel room, you're actually in a virtual Las Vegas hotel room environment.
Okay.
So I guess that's just to increase the immersion. Make it feel like you actually called some chick to your door to like come in and come on and all that sort of thing. So just to heighten the realism for the average fapper. So yeah, really really big stuff happening. I mean, it's undeniable. We can't say that this wasn't going to happen because honestly, when you look at something like VR, porn is one of the biggest things that's going to be benefiting or that it's going to be used for in the grand scheme of things. I mean, if the internet itself and all of the ratings that we see on like Nielsen and shit are any indication, where porn is like literally one of the biggest driving forces of the internet, then something like VR, it's really no surprise that initiatives like this are going to be popping up. Whoop. Like having VR porn room service in a Las Vegas hotel room. You already get pay-per-view and shit, right? When you're going to like pretty much any, like you can go to like a shitty Motel 6 and get porn on a TV. So it makes sense that if VR, if the costs start falling and cheaper hotels are starting to be able to implement that into their room service, then it just makes perfect sense that this is just kind of the next step forward. Or the next step backwards, depending on how you want to look at it. So, there it is. VR porn for y'all. Room service. And Wired did a really interesting video recently on how they make VR porn, which I watched earlier today. I was like, I would talk about this story on Awesome Hardware, but I don't think I can show any part of this video.
Very behind the scenes?
Behind. Okay. Behind the scenes. So go ahead and check that out if you want more info. Info. Okay. 2 more things before we wrap up this here segment and shortly our episode. You can now use the Razer Hydra motion controllers for SteamVR. Now this is pretty huge if you actually own a set of Razer Hydra motion controllers, because Valve has recently released a driver that allows support for these controllers to use with your SteamVR games.
Cool.
So basically, this guy's using like an SDK headset, and he's got some Hydra motion controllers in his hands. But as you can see on screen, he's playing some HTC Vive SteamVR shit, and as if his Hydra controllers were as if they were Vive controllers. The controller's a lot there.
He's using a Rift, right?
I think it's an SDK of the Rift.
Okay.
I believe. But he's using the Hydra controllers and using them in perfect unison with that developer's kit headset, which is pretty awesome because, as you know, the Rift does not currently. I'm sorry, Oculus has not currently come out with the touch controllers. So a lot of people are still waiting on those to come out because the HTC Vive will already be shipping with those motion controllers, which is already a leg up on Oculus. However, if you have these Razer sticks in your hands, then you can just do a simple driver update and enjoy a lot of the same benefits that you would off of the HTC Vive with the Razer Hydra. And he does a lot of different demos. You can see him playing golf or shooting guns with his Hydras. Which is pretty cool, and it's fun. It's a fun video to watch because this is like he's clearly a developer. He shows you some different coding that he's done, but he's just having a really good time using his Hydras, like completely not expecting that they're going to work, and finding out that they are just as precise as, say, like the retail version of the HTC Vive controllers, for example.
Cool. I like the concept that there might be the potential for competition when it comes to like the handheld devices that you use in VR environments.
Yeah, and you can potentially save some money too.
Yeah.
If your gameplay is working just as well with this as it is with like a HTC Vive set of controllers, then why not just save the extra cash and buy a headset a la carte and just recycle your motion controllers that you already have. But I think before, also, I think I might have said that this was an Oculus SDK. It might be a Vive SDK, too.
Oh, really?
Especially if he's using them as Vive controllers. I'm not exactly sure. It didn't specify, but I would assume that it's Vive, unless otherwise specified. So I just wanted to point that out. But very cool stuff from that dude. Reality Check VR is his YouTube channel if you want to check out more about that. Let's go ahead and talk about our second to last story here, which is about this coder. His name is Ryan. His YouTube channel is Deprecated Coder, and he programs support in VR for the ability to actually run in place in that little play area in his room scale environment. He can run in place and essentially scale the entire virtual environment without ever having to run into a wall or having to like use some funky teleport mechanism to go to different areas in the environment. So, and he shows you how he does it. So if you can see right now, he's only got one Vive controller in his right hand, correct?
Yes.
The other controller is actually looped into his belt. So
oh, this guy.
Yeah. So as he runs in place, he's actually programmed the up and down motion of that second Vive controller to act accordingly as a movement action.
All right.
So as he runs in place, his character in virtual reality actually runs along.
I actually read the story about this, but
Yeah.
I did not watch the video. So he's
really cool.
actually got one of the HTC Vive
in his belt loop. It's kind of like right there, like very
just shoved down his pants.
Yeah.
But I was reading about this, and it doing that. Oops, sorry. Doing that allowed the HTC Vive light boxes to more accurately see where his waist was.
Right.
And since your waist, you can't really fool, like moving around. Like if you're moving, if you're walking, then your waist is going to be making that motion.
Right.
And that allowed it to track it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And especially because his head movements on the headset are completely decoupled from the rest of his body movement. So as he's running in the demo, you can see him running and still looking the other direction and shooting as he's running in a completely opposite direction.
Nice.
So you'd be running and looking off and shooting to the right or shooting to the left as you're running in place in this confined space, which is really cool.
And you don't have to spend several $1,000s on one of those running in place VR demo units.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are a little impractical. They're cool.
The Omnis, right?
Yeah, the
I think
Omni,
they call them
yeah.
Omnis. Virtui X Romney, whatever.
Quite impractical.
And then finally, I just wanted to show this really quick video of VR in 1991. This is prime time from, like, honestly, the 90s, like the early 90s.
Oh,
look at that headset. Look at that. Look at that shit.
That's awesome.
And then he's got the trigger. I mean, that doesn't look too far off from modern day, but the VR headset, you can just see it's been scaled down so far. And these units are, this is the virtual environment that he's currently in. He's playing with another guy, so there's two guys in the same virtual space. And, they're in this environment, and they have to go shoot each other. And it's funny because you see that green pterodactyl.
Yeah.
The green pterodactyls, if you don't shoot each other in time, the pterodactyl will actually come down, swoop you, and pick you up by your neck. And you'll be, pretty much just taken off a cliff and left to die. And the news reporter...
Such violence.
The news reporter who got picked up by the pterodactyl is freaking out because he claims to feel like he's actually, like, in midair and flying. He had to take the headset off.
Really?
And, like, catch his breath and stuff because he had never experienced anything like it.
That's so realistic.
It is so... I mean, especially when you look at the graphics.
Immersion. Oh, look, he's being carried away. It's like, oh, no.
He's, like, practically falling over because he's in the sky. Or so he thinks.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, okay.
He's like, I gotta take it off.
It's also because that headset's 100 pounds.
That
so
probably has something to do with it.
He's like, there's no way. My neck is going to break.
Why? We really need... Can we find these headsets somewhere? Like, come on.
I feel like they're probably... That seems like the kind of thing that's locked up in Cell Processing's basement.
I just want these headsets. Yeah, they're probably in Cell.
Cell's got a couple of them. He's just been sitting on them. But yeah, they look pretty awesome.
VR in 19.
It's a really fun type, like, just a really silly video that... and it's funny because a lot of the things that they're saying in this video are paralleling what, like, current day modern newscasters are saying about VR. It's just the difference is all in the graphics and just kind of the basic functionality. Everything's a lot smoother. And when you look at it, you're like, wow, like we've come so far. But in reality, when you look at it, it's like it's really just the graphics. The same principles are there from VR in 1991 as it is today. It's just it's been polished so many times over that it's finally available for a retail release. And
I feel like hopefully the head tracking is better now than it was then.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. I feel like on all fronts it's probably got that down. But last but not least, that's going to conclude it for VR segment, VR updates. So we're going to just wind things down with some Q&A. If you guys have any questions for Paul and I, go ahead and blow up chat, whether it's in Twitch or YouTube. We will try to make the best of it and answer honestly and try to get some answers to you. If not, then we'll peace out, have some dinner, and then after party afterwards. Either way. Oh, we've also got some Johnson shoutouts.
Oh, we got Johnsons.
We have to get to those as well. Should we do those really quick?
Sure, let's do Johnsons.
All right. Johnson shout out to Shane from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hey, thanks for picking up a Bios Flasher shirt, Shane.
Very nice.
We've also got Daniel. I thought it said Danielle. I was like, oh, I got a female viewer. Nope, it's Daniel. Nope. But that's cool. I'm glad you're a guy. I like all genders. We've also got Dan. Dan, thank you very much, Dan.
Double Dan.
Double Dan.
Dan gets a double Johnson.
Dan the man. And then we've got Glenn. Good old Glenn. Picking up a small.
Thank
Oh, you're
you,
a
Glenn.
small.
Thank you.
You're a small guy, Glenn. Then we've got Nathaniel.
And
That's a
Nathaniel.
cool name, Nathaniel. Oh, I want to say his last name, but I can't. Thanks for picking up a Bios Flasher shirt, Nathaniel. Love it.
Wonderful.
Absolutely love it.
Dan grabbed one of the Zero Insertion 4 shirts.
Double Johnson.
And a Thumbscrew shirt.
Double Johnson.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you so much, Dan.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All y'all are you're great.
You are the best.
Great people.
Best in the West.
All right, let's answer like 2 questions.
Okay, yeah, because we are super far over.
What
We wanna be
are
respectful.
grills? What are grills?
Grills, like grills on your teeth, or grills on your car, or
Uh,
grills on the barbecue,
You're right. Those
or
can be
grills,
any of those things.
or grills on like a fan grill, a fan grill.
Yes. In any case, they're things that are designed primarily to make you look cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. Pretty much.
What's the meaning of life?
32? Is
40,
it 32?
42.
42. Clearly, I don't know the meaning of life in Paul does.
Yeah. Should we play Roller Coaster Tycoon for the after party? I don't know if Kyle has it loaded up.
Do you have it?
No.
Oh, okay.
What? My wife has it.
Oh, your wife.
What should we play for the after party?
Guys,
guys-
Rocket League sounds really fun to me right now.
Yeah, it does sound kind of fun, guys. It's 8:20 right now, local time. We're gonna have some dinner. We'll probably be done with that around 9.
Yep.
And then we'll probably do some gaming from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
That's our plan for the after party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. Will you guys do Pascal builds as soon as you get them?
Yes.
More or less, yep. 5960X or wait for new Haswell E? You mean Broadwell E? I would wait for Broadwell E. It's right around the corner. Thoughts on the Doom beta? We already discussed that.
It sucks.
Don't really... Out of the 20 seconds, it sucks.
Lots of people think it sucks.
20 seconds was all I needed to know that that game is ridiculous. It's
True.
stupid.
Mm-hmm. If you had 3K to build a complete ITX system, what would it be? Henry, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to it and you will see. Because that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Best time to build a PC? One of the best deals? Black Friday, probably.
Yeah. It's usually when there's the most sales and stuff.
Right. Do either of you have jobs outside of the YouTube channel? No, I do not. Everything I do is revolves around the channel. I believe Paul's the same way.
We used to, but now we all do YouTube.
And occasional drug deals on the side.
And drugs.
Lots of drugs. Okay, I think we'll do one more question and then we'll sign off.
We're going to throw to other streamers who are streaming. It's a new, exciting thing.
5820K or 4790K for editing? 5820K. Go X99 for the extra cores, faster speed, and more memory options, upgradability. Will serve you well. If you wanted like an excellent
unless you're building a Hackintosh, in which case go for the 4790K.
It'll be more compatible.
Because then you'll have QuickSync.
Oh yeah, QuickSync. That's good shit. Okay. That's all, guys. That's all, guys, for the show.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed it on YouTube. And stay tuned for the after party, which is coming really soon after we have dinner.
Yes.
It's probably going to be an hour or two before that happens. I know it's late night, but
like
we
half
really
hour to
appreciate you
45
guys.
minutes.
Half an hour to 45
I'm staying
minutes.
here. We're gonna game here.
You're right. So we're going to have a quick one.
Guys, if you're watching right now and you want something to do right now, we're going to suggest that you go and watch a couple people who are streaming right now.
Who's streaming?
Edsel Yago.
Oh, yeah.
Ed, a.k.a. Ed.
He's wearing a wife beater. Sexy.
Apparently he is also wearing a wife beater.
Sexy.
So I'm going to link that in...
yeah.
There's Ed's channel.
Yeah.
I'm going to link that in both chats.
Yeah.
If you...
Yeah.
Another suggestion here. Hold on. There's Ed's channel. Is to go watch Deb.
Good old Deb. DeFebwar.
DeFebwar is her channel.
Yep.
She often streams with Steve.
OMG.
If you guys want to hear just a stream of profanity...
Yeah, she's great for that.
But in a very positive, meaningful way.
A very exciting and entertaining way.
We highly recommend that you check her out. So I will also link to her stuff Yes, Cell's also linking that stuff. So guys, yeah, check them out. They're going on right now. Tell them we sent you.
Yep.
Also, if you're watching, you sell this stuff.
If you're watching...
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I said thumbs up earlier.
You did.
So go ahead and toss a like. And subscribe to both of our channels if it's your first time. I know it can be a little bit awkward being your first time and all. But we are here for you, and we are here to guide you. We want to guide your cock, not block it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. And we will see you in the after party, hopefully. If not then in the next video.
Bye, everyone.